Welcome to the Whisk. Today we are going to be talking about how to find the area and perimeter of rectangles and parallelograms. So first we have, what is area? Area is the amount of space a figure takes up. So you're filling the shape, it's the inside or the green part that is filling in this rectangle right here. Perimeter, there's lots of ways to think about perimeter, but it is the distance or length around a figure. So if I was actually taking a walk around this rectangle, it'd be the length that I was walking to make one lap around the rectangle. So make sure you pause and take notes on this slide. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next. How to find the area of rectangles. The area of a rectangle is just going to be your length times your width. So the length is the longest side. So this one is your length because 4 is obviously bigger than 3. So that's length. And then your width is right here. And that's 3. So I'd always write the formula first. Length times width. And then the area of this rectangle will be 4 times 3. So the length I just put in right here for the L. The width I put right there. You guys know this. The area then would be 12 units squared. So make sure you include your label. So that's the first example. Let's go fast.
So next we're going to go over perimeter. Perimeter, the fastest way to find perimeter is just adding the distance around here. So first, the length here, we have 4, 3. I'm just rewriting what I see. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 down here. It's matching the opposite side because this is a rectangle. And then 3. A quick note here, what we're talking about today, the areas of rectangles and parallelograms, really that's all under the idea of called quadrilaterals. So math being the prefix of quad, that would be 4, and laterals, quadrilaterals being just 4-sided shape. So for the perimeter, so we have the perimeter. Now there are some formulas for perimeter, but we're not going to bother you with perimeter formula. We just want you guys to find the perimeter by adding all the side lengths of the shape. So in this case, it would be 4 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3. And what I like to do is sometimes when I'm adding my perimeter, I like to cross out the sides that I've already written down so that I keep track of it. Because as we progress through this, you guys will see irregular polygons and all sorts of a composite figure, which means more than one shape combined. So then you'll just want, so you make sure you want to have all sides included for perimeter. So my perimeter here would be 4 plus 4. That would be 8 plus 3 plus 3 is 6. And my perimeter here would be 14 units. Now we don't square it because we're not multiplying any units. In our last slide that Ms. Powell showed you, the reason why our unit is squared is because we're multiplying 2 different units. When we get to volume later, if you're multiplying 3 units, then it will be to the 3rd power. Okay. So next we have a parallelogram. A parallelogram is a 2-dimensional shape that is 4-sided. Here are some key features of parallelogram. It basically looks like a rectangle. You can actually change rectangle into a parallelogram. But the parallelogram is the opposite sides are parallel. So what we mean by that is this side is congruent or equal to this side, and they're parallel. They're running parallel to each other in the left to right direction, horizontal direction. And then the sides over here, the double tally mark, those are parallel because they're running vertically up and down. They'll never touch. And so then we also have the opposite are also equal in length. Next we have opposite equal angles. So right here, this angle will also be congruent or the same as this angle. And so are these 2 pairs right here. Okay, we just wanted to show you guys what a parallelogram looks like. I would pause the video and write parallelogram, write down these key features about this, definitely draw this. Quick note, this would be the base right here, and then the height. The height is actually not one of these side lengths because it's slanted. The height is usually given to you designated by some type of dashed line inside the parallelogram. Okay.
So how to find the area of parallelograms. It's actually very nice because it's extremely similar or exactly the same as a rectangle. So parallelograms and rectangles are pretty similar. The area of the parallelogram is base times height. So just like Mr. Wynn said, the height is typically given with a dashed line. So right here I know that this is my height, and then my base, one of the properties of a parallelogram says that this is congruent to this. So if you're thinking it has to be on the bottom, it's the same as the one on the top. So that's also 15 inches right here. So to find the area, I just plug in my information for base and height. So the base was 15 and the height is 8. So then I can actually multiply that out and do 15 multiply times 8 equals 120. So then my answer is going to be 120 inches squared. And it'll be squared because I multiplied those two units, just like Mr. Wynn was saying. I took two dimensions and I multiplied them together, so I have inches squared. So area is going to be units squared always. Take a moment, write this down as an example.
Next, we have how to find the base of the parallelogram if area and height is known. So we're just working backwards a little bit. If an area is given to you, sometimes we will give you base and you need to find height. Just like we've been doing the last 2 weeks, first thing you want to do is you want to write down the formula of the shape that's given to you. Since we're dealing with area of parallelogram, you should have this already in your notes. The area of a parallelogram is equal to base times height. And what I have here is b for base, which is missing, and then I have my height. So from here, I'm going to take this area, and I'm going to substitute it in for a, for area. So I'm just going to write it right underneath of a. So I get the area is equal to, instead of base given to me, I'm still going to write b, and instead of h, I have this height right here, which is 3. So here I have 48 inches squared, or units squared, is equal to b times 3, or multiplication is commutative. You can flip-flop it. So another way to write that would be 48 inches squared, or excuse me, unit squared is equal to 3 times b, which is height times base, which is the same. Now that we see that it's being multiplied, the opposite or the inverse of that, just like we did with circles, in order to get the base by itself, we just divide this side by 3 and this side by 3. Properties of equality there. And then 3 divided by 3 becomes just 1b. We just don't write that 1. And then 48 divided by 3 is equal to, bless you,
Excuse me.
is equal to 16. So my base here is going to be 16. Last step, make sure you check. So I get area is equal to base, which is 16 times 3. So therefore the area is equal to 48 units squared. So that checks out. So my final answer, the base is 16.
Okay, so just to review, the area formula for a rectangle is length times width, and the perimeter we're just going to add up all the sides. You might have several strategies to do this that makes it easier and faster for you, and that's absolutely okay. There's multiple ways to do that, but in the big picture, you're just going to add up all the sides. And for parallelograms, the area is the base times the height, and for that one also, you're just going to add up all the sides. And it's pretty easy because there's two sides that are the same in this situation for a parallelogram. Just add them all together. Okay, don't forget to summarize. A lot of my students are forgetting to write in their own words a summary and then ask a question, whether you have the question or not. You need to ask a question that you have or that somebody else might have.
And also, don't just write notes in your summary where you're just writing sentences. Actually write the formula. If you are a highlighter, highlight the formula. Draw the shapes that we played with. Draw the examples so that you can refer back to it.